Josh said, I'm Ray, aka Bam Bam, and I'm a survivor of sexual assault from age of 4 to 14 on the hands of my father and my sisters as well. My brothers and sisters, there were 6 of us in the family, 6 siblings, and we went through living hell more or less in my home growing up as a child. So I stand up on my power today to share my story with others, to let them know that they're not alone and they don't need to live in that fear, blame, and shame anymore, and that we can share it and speak out. So
what made you decide to finally speak out? Like what, you know, and when did you start speaking out? Like how long has it been before you finally
I charged my father in my late 20s, and he got out. Like I said, my sisters charged my dad. We'll start there. My sisters charged my father when I was 17. They came to me and said, we're going to charge dad for what he did to us. And at that point, I went right into denial, fear, shame, blame. You know, I was 17 years old. I was waiting to go play football in university, but fortunately, I never had the grades because of dissociation disorder and stuff. But I was an athlete and the bouncer in the bar and the tough guy in the city. And I was like, you know, what are you talking about? And I ended up running to the booze and the drugs. I discovered cocaine, I discovered whiskey, and I discovered OV. And I went and ran with that. And that was my escape. I found that when I got drunk and high, I didn't feel the pain from my childhood anymore. And of course, that's not the answer. And unfortunately, a lot of people turn to that, and some people don't escape it. And, you know, some people aren't here with us anymore because of it. So I ran with that for a long, long time. Decided to get clean and sober and fell many, many times. But when I got strong enough, I was able to charge my father when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. He got sentenced 18 months, got out 9 months, good behavior. Tell me how a person that commits sexual assault on a person for 10 years of their life steals your innocence away from you on a daily basis, pretty much. You know, there was incest involved. It was horrible, right? It was horrible. And it was living hell growing up in my house. There was no escape. And, you know, you go to school and you get bullied at school. You know, you go to class, and I couldn't fit in anywhere I went. And the voices in my head wouldn't stop because of the PTSD and the trauma and the anxiety. And it was living hell everywhere I went. And, you know, as I grew older with the booze and the drugs, the mental health got worse, right? And the PTSD was out of control. And it just came a time in my life where I knew I had to make a change, right? And I decided to make the change. And like I said, my dad got out early on good behavior. And that's when I started putting these flyers up. I found out where he lived. I went to the neighborhood, actually knocked on the door of where he was living. And my mother had passed through the time. And lady answered the door, bunch of children running around. There was a pool in the backyard. And it's just like, for me, the pool and everything, it was like I relived my trauma like that over. And I told everybody of the family, and they didn't care, just like my mother didn't care, right? She took my father back over and over again. And so I started doing this. I went to the neighborhoods. I literally put up flyers everywhere, got the megaphone out, started putting them on blast. And because I was the survivor of it, well, the police were called. Let's start there. The police were called because I was in the neighborhood, and the cops showed up at my house, and they said I had to sit down with the justice of the peace. And because I was the survivor of it, I was able to do it without getting in trouble. So that's how I found out the laws and what I can and cannot do about putting the sexual offenders on notice.
So we can't put their names. We can't put their addresses.
If you're a survivor, you can.
Okay. So
if I brought in survivors, we had I'm not going to say their names because I don't share people's stories. I don't share people's names because I promised them I wouldn't. But I brought in survivors to the neighborhoods with us, and not.
I've been there for one. Oh yeah, there for one, and that was really moving. That's like, I mean, that really, I noticed what happened. So you see this, the young man was telling me, he goes, this person destroyed me when I was only 10 years old. And he's like, I've wanted this day so bad where I could come and scream at this house. But he's like, I was scared.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't realize, because I didn't digest what I don't understand, but I mean, I have compassion for it. And this is totally wrong. Like, I protect the innocence of children. I just know that's the right thing to do. But to see that how it affects someone into their adulthood. And so he He or you guys live your whole life in fear.
Yes.
Because and especially you, because it's supposed to protect you.
Yes.
Right. And our society, our laws, they don't protect the people, the victims.
No.
They protect the criminals. They protect
Yes,
the people
they
that
do.
are assaulting children. And we see this day in, day out. They let them back into public, and nobody knows either. Like if you go to the US, they have a sexual registration where you can see, okay, so and so lives on so and so street, and
Yes.
it's right there.
You don't have to buy that house in that neighborhood.
So the RCMP are starting to give you will be charged. Yeah, so you can't.
Worse than the pedophile.
Yeah. So the pedophile is free.
Right.
And we always know, I think it's like 95% of the time, they'll be a repeat offender. Right. I mean,
Well, in
so
all
the
honesty, I don't
RCMP are
believe
starting
this
to give I believe the same thing too. I think you're wired wrong.
Yeah,
I think you're wired wrong.
I seen it. My father, he was like Jekyll and Hyde. Right? It was Jekyll and Hyde, and they're monsters. The monsters are real, and that's why I'm out doing my thing, because I remember being a little boy, and before I got victimized, before I got traumatized, during and after, I would cry, scream, yell, and pray for somebody to be there to help me. And when I started doing this, and I started seeing the effect it was having on people, the neighborhoods, the people, when I asked for backup, and the people that started showing up as the backup crew, as victims, and I watched these people. This is the best part of this whole movement for me, is to watch the others in my backup crew step into their power, past that shame and blame and fear. Because see, as a survivor of this, that's what holds us all back. You talked about fear and shame, and that is what holds us back as survivors, as men, women, right? It's that shame, blame, and fear, because you don't want to tell your story. You don't know what, I remember when I first started talking, I would walk into a room and analyze that whole room. Like I said, my mind wouldn't stop through the mental health, and it's that hypervigilance, right? Yeah. You get the hyper, and I could analyze the room. Who's talking about me? Who knows what happened to me? I feel dirty, right? I feel shame, that blame and that fear. So when this movement started, people were reaching out to me and saying, me too. It happened to me too. And, please don't share my story. And the empowerment of that, and I would build them up. I would tell them, thank you for sharing with me. And, you're not a victim in my eyes, because you're actually speaking out. You're talking to me. So if I'm the first person you ever spoke to, thank you for sharing with me, but keep talking. And, you're not alone anymore. And I'm here to help as much as I can. Now, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not.
You've just been through it.
I've been through it. I've walked the walk. I've talked the talk. I've been going to counseling for 20 years. I've been clean and sober now for almost 17 years. So like I said, I've walked the walk. I've talked the talk, and I'm still doing it. Like, I'm still a work in progress, just like everybody else is. And, I'm still healing. Unfortunately, it's a life sentence. And this is another reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, is I'd like to see the laws change, because as a 54-year-old man, I know what I have to go through. I know the work I still have to put in myself every day to be a better person and the better version. So, and in the morning, I get up in the morning, I go outside, I do my grounding every day, and I show my followers what I've done and what I'm doing. Mom, I'm going to kill your dog. I'm going to kill your sister.
Wow. That's
right. And
I'm sorry, brother.
And that's the shit that they
what instills the fear to speak against.
That's the power, right? And I remember one time we were camping I don't know where we were, and we're in the lake, and we were camping, and I said something that I shouldn't have said, and my dad put my head under the water, almost drowned me, and he kept doing it, right? Because he didn't want me to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the power. It's all the power. So it's that fear, that blame, and that shame that they put onto us, and they take away from us. Like, they steal our innocence. My innocence was stolen from me at 4. And it didn't stop until I was 14, till I was finally brave enough and strong enough to put an end to it. I got up one day and I said, no, you're not doing this. I kicked him in the balls, and he went over, and I literally peed my pants because I was so afraid, and ran upstairs, locked myself in the bathroom, waiting for him to come get me. Right. And that day he stopped. He never came and got me that day. So
now, I don't know if this is a valid question or not, but what about your mom? A lot of people would ask, your mom's in there, was she just turned a blind eye to it? What was she like as a person? She had to have known.
My mother knew. This was a hard one for me with my mom because, you know, as a boy, everybody wants to have mama's boy. Yeah. But I've learned through through my years of healing and listening to my older brothers and sisters and stuff. My mother took my father back after my sisters charged him. I was literally sitting at my kitchen table. I didn't know my dad was getting out. I was living on Fitz Street in Welland, and my back patio door opened up. And my dad walked in from getting out of jail after charging my sisters. And I was just like, what? And my mom says, well, what are we supposed to do? He's got to come back. And I got up and I moved out of my house that day.
And how old were you?
18, 19.
And how old, what about your sisters?
They were 20s, late 20s.
Okay.
So yeah, it was my mother was the enabler. My mother knew, and like being a boy, or my sisters would go and tell my mother, you know, dad did things to me, and my mother would tell them, don't wear those clothes anymore. You know, it was skeletons in the closet.
Blame
right?
the victim.
Yeah. Blame my sisters, right? You know, back in the day when we were kids, you know, they had those one-piece nightgowns, right? And my sisters wear those nightgowns. And my one sister came and said to my mother, you know, dad's going up. He was the stepfather. He was their stepfather. And, you know, he's going up the nightgowns. And my mom's answer was to them, don't wear them anymore. And times were different back then. That's all I got to say. And skeletons in the closet were real. And this is why I am so proud of this movement that was started, because now everybody's talking about it. Where when I was 10, 11, 12, nobody ever spoke about it. It was skeletons in the closet. Now people are screaming it from the rooftops, and, you know, the Epstein files are coming out, and, you know, it's a real life. There's a lot of people out there suffering because of it. And the fact that our justice system allows it to continue and go on, and they're making it a political agenda, it's disgusting. Right? These are little children.
They've normalized the idea, even like the Epstein files. You hear all these horrendous crimes that are happening. They're talking about it. There's I don't know how many emails there are, but everyone's like, oh yeah, they're just eating babies and drinking blood, and that's whatever.
Like it's normal.
Brad Pitt's great, or whoever the next celebrity is doing it, right?
And it's just like, and to me, it's all of them, right? There's a big. What's the worst thing you could ever do to a person, right? What's the worst crime you could ever commit? Stealing a child's innocence, right? So,
and then if you don't speak out, you're complacent in it as well.
Yeah. And that, well, in all honesty, now that like I said, when I was when you were young and we were kids, it was never spoken of. It was skeletons in the closet. Now that people are starting to be aware of it and being made aware, it's like they don't care enough. It's like, when are we all going to stand up and say enough hurting our children, right? Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm 54. I'm telling people what it's like on a daily basis, what I have to go through, the struggles, the PTSD, the anxiety. And I'm healed. I'm more of a healed person. There's a lot worse. I had a person come out in my crowd, of my backup crew, that they didn't leave their house for years, right? From the depression. Lots, like women, men, kids, right? So it's.
Now, what do you do to, you know, subside the voices? And obviously you abuse drugs and alcohol, and that's obviously that didn't help. You just had to keep piling it on in order to sort of numb the pain and stuff. But so are you sober now? I'm
sober, clean and sober 17 years now. I've remained clean and sober. I went to rehab many times, and like I said, when I was going to my rehab, I discovered it was my childhood trauma that was causing all this. And unfortunately, like, I went to Homewood. It's supposed to be the best rehab around. And when I brought that up to my like, we had the group setting, like an AA meeting.
Yep.
A bunch of men and women sitting around, and I'm Ray and I'm an alcoholic. And I brought it up in there. And when I brought that up, everybody was like, and other people said the same thing. But unfortunately, the counselor said, we're here to help you with your drug problem. We can't help you with that. Well, that was the root cause of why I was using drugs. Yeah. So I got out of the rehab. I was clean, sober, 18 months, tripped, fell, right? And then it was just one day I just said enough's enough, right? It was enough. And I got 2 children, right? I got 2 kids. I got a wife, and I had to make the change, get my family back, right? So.
And so is there anything else you can do to sort of calm your mind or become, like, are you ever at peace with the things that happen to you?
I'm at peace now. I'm at peace with it now. But that's through counseling. Like I said, I've gone to counseling for 20 years. I'm a firm believer in counseling. I've actually got some of the backup crew, as we call them, into counseling. There's free counseling available. I'll share it with Josh. And share it to his online. I go to counseling weekly. I go to Brookside Mental Health. I have an awesome counselor. I've learned through the 20 years. I've gone through a couple, and for the people that are struggling and that want to go see and speak to somebody, I highly recommend going to see a counselor, especially if you've been abused as a child. They teach you tools of how to work yourself out of PTSD, the anxiety, breath work, breathing, grounding, mind-body connection work. Like the little boy inside of me or inside of you or inside of the woman, the little girl, that is the one that needs the most healing, because that's the one that's still there and still exists. And it's the mind-body connection that helps so much. And that is what you learn through counseling, right? You learn to sit with your emotions. You learn how to deal with your emotions. You learn how to, some days you get up in the morning, you don't want to get out of bed, right? Because the depression's too bad, or the anxiety's too bad, right?
And do you still have those days?
No, I don't have those days at all anymore.
Counseling probably got you to this point of where you are today, where you can go boldly in the neighborhoods and say, this is who I am.
100%.
This is having me, join me. And I see it all the time. I've seen you breathe like life into these people. And I'm like, that's Bam Bam. Like, I just show him on my page when I go down there. I'm like, are you part of that? I'm like, I'm just following Bam Bam, man. Bam Bam's followed me down some dark paths when we do these protests. He's always had my back. So when you started doing this, I was like, I have your back 1,000%. And you built a pretty large following pretty quickly.
Yes.
And it wasn't in followers. We had to call them. There were other survivors.
Yes.
And that's the sad part about today's social media and the rules they imply on us, that they actually took all those survivors away from your leadership because of you said the word, I think it was pedo, spelled an E, and they don't want you saying anything like hate. They call it hate. Everything they put under the guise of hate, like, oh, you're hating. Bullying. But meanwhile, the trauma that you guys have gone through is the most intense bullying and hatred, right? That a child can
they
endure.
silenced us, right? See, that's the way I looked at it, right? Not only did I build that platform of survivors, victims, concerned citizens, it was a place where we could go and talk and share, not in-depth stories, but I would do lives all the time, and I would go on and people would message me and, me too. And it was somewhere that they could go for the first time and say, me too. And I would set them up with free counseling, and I would talk to them and just be there and let them know they're not alone anymore, right? Carry that weight of that shame, blame, and fear, and teach them that the more you speak and the more you start to talk and you start to see how people are looking at you, like they're not looking at you like you're dirty, like your mind's telling you. They're not looking at you like, oh my God, you're gross. Like you had to do that with your dad. And that's when that shame starts to be passed, right? You start, okay, I don't have to be ashamed. I don't have to be afraid to talk, right? And when I started talking, I couldn't shut up, right? I'd be in the mall, right? I'd be walking, and anybody that would listen, right? And I would watch them, and I'm a big people person, right? And I would watch their facial expressions, and it'd be like, most of the time they were like, me too, right? And they would start crying, and that's what I'm getting now. Like, you'd be surprised how many people are still silenced and still sit with that shame, blame, and fear, that don't have the strength, don't have the know-how, right?
Now, is it by talking about it, it's sort of, you don't really own it, but you sort of just accept it and then you can work through it?
It's called radical acceptance.
Okay.
Right? You have to learn to accept all the bad that happened to you. It wasn't your fault. Mm-hmm. Right. And then you got to sit with those emotions, and almost like you have to learn to digest them. It's like when you start healing at the very beginning and you start going to counseling, it's scary because you're going to talk for the first time, right? So you're sitting in a room with a complete stranger, right? And your anxiety is already high. You already have PTSD. I remember going into my very first counseling, and I remember my counselor said to me, she goes, breathe. And I looked at her, I'm like, what? I am. And I was literally like this. I was wound like a top, right? And I didn't know it because I thought it was normal, because that was how my body functioned my whole life. I didn't know any different, right? And it's that hypervigilance. It's PTSD. It's the anxiety. You don't know because you don't know, right? So I walk through life. Like, I can remember sitting in school and not being there. It's disassociation, right? It's somewhere that your mind takes you to keep you safe, right? When you're being victimized as a child. And that stays with you So all these things I did growing up that I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't learn until I went to counseling. Right. And then when I got to counseling, I was able to say, oh yeah, I remember doing that. I know that's what I did. And then I would use the tools they would teach me, whether it be breath work, winding down, sitting with the emotions, mind-body connection. I can get into some of the stuff that I do maybe in a little bit, but
Like meditation, like is
like
is
a
it sort of
meditation, breath work, it's box breathing, and there's like there's the box breathing for me is the best. It's you sit in a quiet place and you close your eyes and you envision yourself drawing a box in your mind. And as you're drawing that box, you're counting. So I'll do it right now.
Do it, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
let it
I'm
rip.
going to do it live because I do it on my lives all the time.
Sure.
So what you do is you'll get yourself in a comfortable spot. You can do it with me, Josh,
All right.
as you do it, okay? And you get yourself comfortable and you close your eyes and take a couple breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just relax, okay? And as you're doing this, you're just trying to think of happy things, and letting all that crap and all that stress of the day go. Okay? And then once you get yourself at a calm situation, like right now, see, because I do it so much, I can get myself calm right away. So what you do is you want to envision in your mind that you're drawing a box in your head. And when you're doing this, you're counting to 4. So what I do is I'm going to do with my line, I'm going to open my eyes right now. All right. So your eyes are closed, pretend you're watching and your eyes are closed and you're drawing the box, you're counting to 4 and you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you're doing this, you're breathing in through your nose. So you're going, and then you're holding for a second and you're exhaling and you're counting to 4 and you're drawing the next line, holding, breathing in, drawing the bottom line, holding, breathing out, finishing that completion of the box. And what you're doing in your head, you're to continue to do that box breathing, counting to 4 over and over and over again, as many times as you need to until your mind starts to slow down. And all those other thoughts in your head that are all out of whack. Oh my God, and it brings you back to center. And for me, that's one of the best things. So I'll go outside, I'll take my shoes off. I do it every day, any season. I do it every morning, before 7:30 in the morning. I get up and I go outside barefoot in the snow and I'll do some box breathing, hug trees, whatever it may do. Right.
But I get you. I've been there. I do that. Yeah. We're on the same page there.
I've gotten here because I found the things that work for me, that made me feel better, learning to love myself again, to accept the things that happened to me weren't my fault. Right. And that's the biggest part of it. And I learned that through counseling. And like I said, the box breathing, I want everybody to try that box breathing on your own. And like I said, I did it pretty quick here, but it's just, you're just sitting at 1 and it's just like, I'm going to do it right now. So that was 1 box I just drew in my mind. And when you're doing that, the main thing you want to do is try to just concentrate on drawing that box over and over. And if your mind slips off, bring your mind back to that box and keep doing it. And eventually your mind will start to do it.
It breaks the focus on the negative, right?
It breaks the focus on the negative, right? And it brings you just to think of one
thing. You're
thing.
breathing. It's like
one thing. You're focusing on one thing and you're teaching your mind that. You're teaching your mind not to have to, to think of 50 things at once, like the ADHD that kicks in, right? You can't settle down. It's like, oh my God, you're all over the place, right? So this slows your mind down. And then as you're doing this, you're starting to recognize what your body's doing as you're doing this, as you become better at it, right? So if you're outside and you're doing the box breathing, you might hear a bird singing, right? And you want to pick up on that. You want to pick up on everything around you and find the connection of peace with it. And for me, that's what works, right? So it's a form of radical acceptance. It's a form of sitting with your emotions, and it's a form of dealing with my emotions, right? And not running from the emotions anymore, because that's our minds can be the best or worst for us, right? And it all depends what mindset you want to have. So if you want to sit in that stinking thinking and suffer, you're going to suffer.
Let's say you like got two wolves inside you. One's bad and one's good, but which one you feed the most, right? So you
Right.
feed that
So
all those thoughts, and
Yes.
if like you're focused breathing.
and it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. Like I still have struggles today, right? Every day is a struggle. If something comes up, or there's something outer that's going on in your life, and it may trigger something, and you've got triggers that you have to deal with. You have anxiety you have to deal with, PTSD you have to deal with. You've got emotional things you have to deal with. It's all part of it. But once you start learning the tools and learning how to cope and learning how to recognize when you're doing the work, and you start to this is what I tell people that follow me. When you start to recognize your healing, right? Like when you're right now, before, if I sat in this room, I would be very uncomfortable, right? I wouldn't be able to sit comfortable. I couldn't do this like 10, 15 years ago. But I learned through my healing that I don't have to live in that shame, blame, and fear. And that's what I'm talking about when you talk and you get your emotions out there. And as a man, a little boy, we teach our, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that, rah, 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 rah. And you grow up with that and you don't want to speak out, right? And that's the stigma to all this, right? But once you start talking and you start recognizing the healing that's taking place through the years, that's when you start to really start to heal, right? And that's how come I'm able to help others now, because I've come a long way, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I do, because I know.
Well, you're doing an amazing job. I toot your horn all the time. I
know
buddy.
the work. I know the work that it takes, and it's not easy work. And I tell that, like, the reason I call my backup crew, right? I was out and about in the streets, and I was hanging these flyers up all by myself, right? All the time I was out there putting the pedophiles on notice, doing my thing, right? And the one day I was out there, I took my phone out and I videoed it, and that's how it started. This is how the movement started. I video filmed it, and I said, you know what? I need backup. I'm out here by myself. I've been doing this all by myself. I said, I know there's other people out there that want to come and help me, because nobody
likes a pedophile.
Nobody likes a pedophile, right? I literally made a video.
How long ago was that?
August of 2025, end
That's
of
when you
August.
started it.
That's when we did our court date in August, so it was September.
Right? The
It was
rally.
September, right after the rally. So I literally made a video on Facebook, and I said, I'm going to be in Thorold South, Niagara Falls Boulevard, next Saturday at 9:30. Whoever wants to come and help me, hang up flyers, put a pedo on notice, show up. And I got there at 8:45, and there was like 10 people there already. And I think that was our first rally. I think there was about 25, 30 people showed up. So I was like, holy cow, right?
Yeah.
And it just kept growing. And I said, you know what? Next weekend we're going to be here, right? And people are like, how do you find these people, right? How do you find the pedophiles, right? So
A good question. How do you?
well, I got to be careful.
But I'm just
Little
teasing.
birdie, right? A little birdie.
Well, you know what? Like I said, nobody likes a pedophile, right? And you'd be surprised when I started going out there, how many people started talking and saying, hey, my uncle, my cousin,
Yeah.
my teacher. Like, it's just, it's everybody. It's every walk of life. Doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They're everywhere. Right. So I started hanging posters up, asked for backup, and that's how the backup crew started. Now, like, we were in Welland one week. I think there was like 75 of us.
Minus 20 degrees.
Yeah,
They're
like-
showing up, and
Like it's amazing, right? But
It's
like I
truly
said, the
amazing.
community grew because we all were looking for this. We all were looking for somebody to share with, and somebody to step up. And it was just so happened to be me, I guess. Right.
And I think it's important to say that even if you're not a victim, you can contribute to this. You can come out, you can support
100%.
people. It's, I mean, if you
Concerned
if you don't have
citizens.
children, if you don't have children, people that have children, they're also going to be, running our societies after us.
Yes.
And we need
Yeah.
strong people, right? So I think it's important for people to know that they can support you, and they can come out and show some love and
100%.
support the kids, right?
Well, like what I do is, what I usually do is on Wednesdays, I go out and locate them. Right. I already know where they live, but before I go there, I want to identify, make sure, are they convicted? Are they charged? What was the offense? Blah, blah, blah. And then I'll scope the neighborhood out, kind of telephone posts. Are they steel? Are they concrete? Right. Are they, so when we show up,
So you
right?
do reconnaissance.
Yeah, I do like private
Pedo
investigation,
reconnaissance.
right? Pedo reconnaissance, pedo tracking, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll find them, right? Locate them. And then like I said, I'll go to the neighborhood by myself, and I'll put these up, talk to the neighbors, and say, hey, we'll be back Saturday. And then I'll go home and I'll make a post on Facebook and say, hey, I'm having a protest, or I call them community safety awareness gatherings.
Yeah.
That's the way
Right?
to do it, right?
That's the way to do it, right? Because and all we do is we'll show up in the neighborhoods and the surrounding neighborhoods and we canvass and we walk, we talk, the neighbors, and
How have the neighbors been so far?
awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, they come out,
Oh, a
they
thumbs
offering
up.
us coffee, water, juice box. It's
The
amazing.
one guy's like, he's like, I've lived here for 50 years. Like, which house is it? I'm like, let me come in for a second.
Yeah.
You know, if you
you
don't
gotta
want
be
to,
careful.
you got to
right?
be careful,
Yeah.
right? Like I heard,
Yeah.
right?
He lives
But
in this area.
This
right?
area, right?
So, but the neighbors are amazing.
Well, everybody wants their neighborhood safe too, right?
Who doesn't want to know that?
And it's not like people try to give us a bad name online, like, oh, you're disturbing the peace. Like, no, we're not. We're not honking horns. We have a couple cowbells, some light little cowbells, just to kind of like,
who doesn't want to know that you have a sexual offender living in your neighborhood?
we've had a few that weren't happy with us. Well, I mean, out of the hundreds that are
20
happy,
We've done 26 communities to spend 26.
2 people have
weeks.
been upset. Yeah.
And maybe 2 people have been upset.
Yeah.
Even the Niagara Regional Police have turned and they love us now. Like they
Well, how can you not?
They show up and well, I'm going to tell you something. I've had, and I won't say names because I don't share stories and names, but you'd be surprised how many people, including the police, like when I go to the courthouses too, I go to the court and chaperone people there, like families of victims there. And you'd be surprised how many police come up to me and say, thank you very much. Give me a hug and say, me too.
Wow.
And that's stuff like not just police, it's everybody. I can't go anywhere nowadays without people coming up to me and saying, you're the Bam Bam, right? And giving me a hug and saying, thank you, me too. And it's mind-blowing because I've always known how bad the problem was, right? And, you know, I've been called crazy, the tinfoil hat wearing guy and everything like that. Our world is ran by satanic pedophiles, right?
Literally. And
literally.
I think a lot of people are finally realizing that,
Yeah. Like,
you know, people would say the craziest things, like even, you know, when you watch Alex Jones,
yes,
case in point, he was like,
it's real.
Everyone thought he was nuts. And don't get me wrong, there are some things he says that
Yes.
is a little outlandish. And that's what conflates the actual real stories, right? So when he was saying stuff about the baby's blood and sacrificing and all this stuff,
Eating
you're
babies.
just like, okay, this is nuts. But people are realizing that this is actually real.
This
like
is
it's,
true.
is things that have actually gone on and are still going on.
Yeah.
Just imagine Epstein's the only one we know about, guys.
Yes.
There's,
Well, there's a lot more islands.
there's a
right?
lot more out there.
That's something else that I'm finding too, is that the amount of protection that the
Millionaires
pedophiles
Club,
get.
right? Yeah.
Just not even the millionaires. It's just the local people. Like what people I don't think understand is once a pedophile gets charged and arrested, right? They get put into the system. They go to court using our taxpayers' money, right? Because they're getting legal aid. And then they suck the system out for the legal aid and they go to jail. They're using taxpayer money again. Then they get out of jail and they usually claim mental health because now they're using pedophilia as mental health.
Mhm.
They go on ODSP or welfare or the system, right? Or
Or a
whatever they
halfway
are.
house for a
Halfway
while.
house, right?
Yeah.
And then they're using our tax dollars again for the rest of their lives.
Right.
So as a survivor of this, what they're using our tax dollars for, it sickens me, right? And then they reoffend again. And then they do it again. They use the same system, our same tax dollars.
So what do you think is the solution to this? So
I can't say it on.
well,
here.
okay, yeah.
You know what we're doing is a
Yeah.
solution.
I understand.
It's the small movement.
Yeah.
Basically, change legislation is the goal for Bam Bam. I think, right?
Everybody knows what you mean by that.
Yeah.
But what I mean is clearly that's not an option. I'm thinking more about like on the system. Like, is there something we can do, or do you see a path forward that isn't the average Joe paying their tax money to support these sick individuals?
If we're going to ask the system that's already in place to help us, that's the definition of insanity,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So the system that is in place right now is full of pedophiles,
True.
and they're protecting them. And if they're not a pedophile, they're protecting them. Like I look at it this way. I got to be careful what I say and how I say it, but
Yeah.
it's all of them, right? It's all of them.
Well,
And
they
they're all
know.
complicit.
If they don't do it, they already know
Like,
what's happening.
Put it this way: if he was a pedophile or I was a pedophile, we wouldn't hang out with each other. It's that simple.
Yeah,
right?
very much.
So,
Yeah.
you know, these people are sitting in these seats. They're knowing what's going on, and they're allowing it by keeping their mouths shut. And that's where I feel we are at as society now, because now we're being shown. You and I have known our whole life, lizard
Mhm.
people. We've always been the crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
conspiracy
yeah.
people,
Baby
right?
eaters.
Baby eaters and
Oh,
all that
yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? But now we're being shown it. So, what are we going to do about it?
That's right.
That's where I'm at now. It's like it's out there. It's in our faces. It's happening on a daily basis. It's happening now as we speak. Children are being victimized as we speak. Human child trafficking is real. Organ harvesting is real. It's on a worldwide, because I won't use global because I don't believe in the globe.
Let's talk about flat Earth.
And it's on a worldwide scale, right? And it's out of control. And all I'm seeing is favoritism to the pedophile. So I would like to see jail, stricter sentences, right? Don't be lenient on the pedophile. If you touch a child, you lose your rights. And if they want to make it a mental health disorder, I'm all for that. So take them. You know, you got Doug Ford wants to put $25 million into Niagara Falls and stuff like that. We have a huge pedophile problem in the Niagara region. So take that money, go build a mental health facility somewhere, strap all the pedos to the bed, pump them full of the mental health drugs, make them like that. We all know where they all are. Right?
Coming to get us, I think.
Yeah, the cops are here.
Coming to get us.
Alabama was nice knowing you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Thanks for setting me up.
No, I just set you both. I think it was Mark. You set us up?
No, yeah. But I was talking about this with somebody else recently, and they used to be asylums like that for people that are now, a lot of them are building tent cities all over Canada and all over the world, really. And a lot of those people would be in this place where they can be supervised. They can at least live in dignity. And obviously I'm referring to people that don't have a choice here. I'm not talking about, you know, the people we're talking about here. But a place like that is sort of, you know, necessary, I think, these days, especially
100%.
with the things we're seeing outside.
Well, it's a revolving door for them, right? And I found out by talking and learning and educating myself that the reason they're getting let out so easily is because there's no room in the jails. The jails are full of them, right? They get put in PC and they're full. There's nowhere else to put the pedophiles. So that's why I say build a super max jail, house them there, a mental health facility, and house them there, right? Now,
I got a way easier idea. I can't say it online, but
can't say it either.
They don't need any, you get a very small area to contain them. There's no food bill, nothing. No, I got it figured out, guys. But DM me for more details.
I have the cure.
Penicillin. It's called penicillin.
Yes.
I'm trying to patent it. It's just it's a dose, one shot.
Yeah, that's the thing. Have you? I mean, in all your research, have you ever heard of somebody coming forward and saying, "I used to be that way, and now I don't. I'm not." Do you know what I mean? Like,
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
I've never heard that. My father tried to say he was cured.
Yeah.
After I charged him, and he went out, and then he reoffended.
Of course.
Right. So this was after, like, my father. After I came out and started talking, and I started doing this, like the Facebook channel and all the channels and coming out like that. I had so many people reach out to me that I grew up with, that were victims of my father that I didn't know of.
Oh wow.
Friends, neighbors, and my father ran a construction company. Right. So he was in all the neighborhoods. And now, see, back then you don't look at it like that, like where they're going, what are they doing? And these people, they're monsters. They like to be anywhere where kids are. They like their teachers, right? Their doctors, their daycare workers,
police officers,
right?
We just had an arrest there, that big one, right?
You just had a huge, like, they're everywhere, right? We were in, like, they play clowns, they play Santas at Christmas.
Well, there's no jail time for these guys. So of course, there's no fear, right?
Right. So, well, that's what they do to us. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. When we go to the neighborhoods and we're yelling at them, like, I've had cops call me and say, "Hey, were you in that neighborhood?" Like, before I got there with the crowd. And I'm like, "Well, no." "Well, we've had complaints that you were there. We know we've seen your truck." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what do you want?" "Well, we just let you know that the pedophile's afraid." And I'm like, "Okay." So is this a good thing or a bad thing? And they're like, "No, keep doing what you're doing." Right. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So, by us going to that neighborhood and doing what we're doing, we're passing that shame, blame, and fear. Because I know, as a little boy, I'll say it again. This is like a dream come true for me, because as a little boy, I always wished, like I said, before I got abused, during abuse, and after, I wished, prayed, and cried, screamed, yelled for somebody to come and help me.
Yeah.
Right. And there was nobody to help me. My father was my abuser. My father, the protector, was supposed to be there to help me. He was the one victimizing me daily. Right. And my sisters. Right.
Is he still alive?
No. My father actually impregnated one of my sisters. That's how bad it was at my house. So she was 14.
Wow.
I had to watch on the dryer. That's how bad my house was. We had lockup rooms where he'd put us, and we'd have to wait. It was living hell. And People need to understand the severity of these people. These people aren't normal. And you asked me this earlier, and I'm going to get into a little bit more now because I'm more comfortable. But people need to start understanding that monsters are real. And these people, you're saying a cure. What can we do as a society? There is no cure. There is no help for these people. They go after us because they're empowering themselves, because they're taking our power away from us. They're stealing our innocence away from us. They're victimizing us, and they're leaving us helpless, hopeless, and living in trauma and the fear. Like when I talk about that fear, like I said, we go to the neighborhoods and we do what we do. I do that because I know that we're passing that fear and that blame and that shame back onto that person when we're walking through that neighborhood. Because many a days, me growing up, I would hide in my room, hide in my closet, right? Like I set my bedroom on fire. I lived on Endicott Terrace. I set my mattress on fire when I was like 8 or 9 years old. Why do you think I did that? Because it was a living hell for me, right? My whole house was, right? So it was always trying to escape, right? And through my healing and through my counseling, I found that escape. And then when I started going to the neighborhoods, my dad, I felt the empowerment coming on. So when I started doing this with myself and asked others to do it, I knew what it would do for them. And that's why I did it, right? And I'm seeing it. Like I said, it's week 26 for us. And I'll sit back every week. I sit back and I'll watch the crowd walk by me of survivors, victims, wherever they may be in their journey. And each week I'll watch their faces. You say,
oh yeah, I've been there.
You'll see their faces they're happier, they're prouder, they're passing that shame, that blame. I'm watching people, women, men scream at, shame, and it's just like they would never have done that before. And they're growing and they're getting.
Well, even some of the people there that I don't know, but I'm a hugger, right?
Yeah,
Everyone knows me as a hugger. I hug everyone. That's what I did for the Freedom Convoy, and some of the younger people there. I hug the whole crowd every time I go. I say, "Hey, Bam Bam," give everyone a hug. And but when I first started going, the people were not huggers. They don't want you to wrap their arms around. They don't that. But I mean, I've actually seen they're coming to me for a hug now. So like they have this huge safety network, and it makes you like. For me, I just the energy that's provided in this small group, and it's kind of changed a little bit. We've seen it grow. Like we've bringing people, and like last time where they had a beautiful group prayer.
Yeah,
and then there's a spiritual element to this as well. People think we're just going around like vigilantes. No, these are a lot of good people that are hurt, and they've always looked for answers. And you have a spiritual journey,
yes,
right? I mean,
100%.
You feel free to talk about that. Like you've had a spiritual awakening.
So through my healing process, I turned to see. I never went to church. I always went to Catholic school, right? I always did stuff like that, and took religion classes and stuff like that. And I always knew there was a higher power, but I didn't realize how impactful that higher power was until I started doing my healing journey, and I was coming clean and sober through the drugs, and going to the meetings and getting enlightened. And part of the healing journey, when you start to recognize the healing, I started recognizing the enlightenment happening, right? Like I shared a story with Josh, 2017. I had an accident, had an injury, broke my back. I was sitting in my backyard by myself one day on the painkillers because I had to use the painkillers, and I was struggling, and I was thinking of booze and drugs, feeling sorry for myself with a broken back, didn't know where I was. PTSD was kicking in again. All my anxiety was kicking in, and I was going to go get a 60-pounder of rye and an 8-ball. That was what was in my head to escape. And I just started asking for help. And I shared it with Josh. I said, just please don't let me use today. Please don't let me use today. And I've had this happen to me a few times where I felt like somebody came over me and gave me a hug.
Holy Spirit.
And I got the goosebumps. I had something whispered in my ear telling me I was going to be okay. And I was grounding. I was sitting at a table, barefoot, grounding, praying, asking for help, asking, I don't want to use today. Please help me. Please help me. And when that happened, it left. Like I didn't want to use. I felt better. And I had it happen when I was younger, going through AA and NA meetings and stuff like that. I was in a church sitting at an NA meeting, and everybody was praying and everybody was talking. And my mentor that was there, he introduced me. And I literally broke down crying because I never felt that much grace, I guess it was. And the same thing happened to me then. So I've had that happen to me a few times in life. And that day in my backyard when it happened to me, And I didn't use that day. I actually turned and I said, thank you, God, for doing this. I'll never turn my back on you again. And you please use me as a vessel and help others. Because I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to help. I just didn't know how to. So when I started this journey, I was driving home from a counseling meeting one day, and I kept hearing vessel, 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 it repeating in my head. I'm like, what the heck is that? What is going on, right? What? And I pulled over and I just started box breathing and just meditating and just trying to quiet my mind. And I was spoken to, vessel. Remember you asked me for the vessel? I'm using you as a vessel. And that's, I lost it in my truck. I cried, I broke down, and it was just like very empowering, right? It's very, very empowering, right? And it was just like, so from that day forward, I said, I will never turn my back again on God. He is my best backup. I still don't do the church thing, but I pray. I am love. I am light. I am. I say that all the time because we're all brothers and sisters. That's how I look at it. And yeah, he's my best backup, and I'll never turn my back on him again. And you said we started to pray. We said a prayer during before we did our rally.
Yeah, no,
it was absolutely beautiful.
It was very beautiful.
It was. It's. I'm looking at it this way: out of something so horrible that stole from me and stole from so many others, by doing what we're doing, we're actually turning it around and making it into something very powerful, healing, and beautiful. Because I'm watching people heal in real time. I'm watching people step in their power in real time. I'm watching people hang signs up on telephone posts in real time with big smiles on their faces, and they're stapling up there and they're turning around and they're getting the empowerment that they never had in their life for their very first time. And then I'm watching them. Like I say, I'll sit back and watch them walk by me. And each week wow, look at that person. Wow, look at that person. Holy, listen how loud that person is, the speaker. Listen how much this person stepped up this week and is helping somebody else. Right. And it's the biggest part of it is knowing you're not alone anymore. Right. To sit in a room with 30, 40 people and not be uncomfortable in your skin anymore. It's beautiful, because I lived like that my whole life until I started healing, which was, it's been a long journey, right? Like I was victimized for 10 years of my life. So I've been in counseling 20, and I still go, I go every week still. And for me, it was the best choice I ever made. And I fought it until I made it. And I've had 3 really special counselors in my life through my years. And I've had a couple bad ones, but that's part of it. And you have to learn to accept that, because you're going into a room like this, sitting, talking to a complete stranger, man, woman, whatever it may be, right? And you're sharing your most intimate details, because when you get in there, you are sharing your stories. You are letting them know what happened. You're opening up for the first time. You're crying, like you're screaming. Like I go there, I still cry when I go to my counseling meetings. I'll cry online. It's part of it, man. And what happened to us was the worst of the worst of the worst. And that's what I keep saying. There's nothing worse that could have ever happened to me in my life, ever, for 10 years. Being raped by your father, there's nothing worse. And watching him do it to your sisters and participating and it was just, like I said, it was horrible.
So does that make you sort of fearless now?
Yeah, I am fearless. I am completely fearless, to the point where sometimes it's scary. And, but you know what? I can back it, right? Bam Bam for a reason, right? I grew up angry, right? I was an angry boy. I was an angry.
How do you get the nickname Bam Bam? Can I ask? Is that gonna?
Bam Bam, right? I grew up angry.
Well, Bam Bam was the boy from the Flintstones. So the Bam Bam is the strongest little thing. He throw everybody around, right?
Yeah. So I grew up. I grew up. Started bouncing the bar at like teen dances. 14, 13. I was a bouncer, right? And then I was 15, 16. I was a big guy. And I started bouncing in the adult clubs at 15. That's Hotel Welland, right?
Yeah.
And before it was bad. And then I just kept going and bouncing. And that's how the Bam Bam came in, and being the big, strong, tough guy and stuff, and fighting and beating people up, being angry. And I made a lot of bad, booze and drugs. That all went with it, right? And made a lot of bad choices. I through all of my addiction, everything like that, like I was so bad. I lost the house. I lost my car. The wife left, took the kids, right? She did the right thing, right? And I kept running and running and running. And like I said, it was it was a hell of a ride, but I'm glad I took it because it made me the person who I am today. So I'm glad that the others are on it with me now, because I'm just standing up to show others that there is hope. Right. It's my sister said to me, my sister Sue, I think you met her
I
that
met
day.
Sue, yeah.
She showed up at one of the rallies, and she goes by Hope Saxon. She's an awesome lady. She was on the Oprah Winfrey show, who's also a reptilian. But anyway, but anyways,
Allegedly, right?
allegedly,
Allegedly, yeah.
She was on the Oprah Winfrey show, and she was in the Chicken Soup for the Soul book. She's an author and stuff. So she's
wow.
she goes by Hope Saxon, and she was like my mentor because she started healing before all of us, right? So she's the strong one. Like if you think I'm strong, you should see her, right? And she showed up at the rally the one day, and it was awesome, right? And she's a survivor, and she's got 2 beautiful kids, right? She's married like 36 years, right?
He was there too, their husband.
Yeah, Bob, he was there, and you know what? I'm just standing up to let others know, like hope. That's how she got Hope Saxon, because she stood up and wanted to show others there was hope, and I'm doing the same now as a man. Just to let other men and women, kids, know that there is hope, there is a way out, but you got to be willing to do it, right? It's like I talk about showing up every day, showing up for yourself, right? And I stress healing and showing up for yourself, putting yourself first always. Before anything else, you got to put your healing first before anything, because if you don't do that and you don't concentrate on yourself and show up for yourself first, you can ruin your whole day. You can either set your day up or you can ruin your whole day if you let your mental health get away from you. So I've learned first thing in the morning, I get up, I go outside, I do my grounding, I do my breath work, I give thanks, say a little prayer, walk outside barefoot. And that's how I start my day, with positive affirmations about myself, because I didn't have that growing up. For me, love was touch, right? That's what I was taught at 4 years old, right? And my sister said it was before that, right? Like my dad used to get in the crib with me, not the crib, the playpen, right? So, and used to put me on his lap in the car, right? When I was little and stuff. That was all for self-gratification, right? Now I know that, right? That's what they do. Like I've talked about what they do in their lives and how they like to hang out with kids. And that's what he did. They were monsters, right? And so I'm just out here putting myself out to let others know they're not alone. My sister called it giving them permission, but I'm not anybody to give anybody permission. You have to give yourself permission. That's the way I look at it. You have to be able to say, you know what? I want to change. I want to be the change. I want to be better. And I want to show up for myself. So
now, how can people like get a hold of you, reach out to you? Like I know you had a couple of your accounts taken down, which is incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah.
But how can people reach out if they have questions or if they want to come to the rallies and not really rallies, but your meetings in the streets, as you call them? How can
public
people do
safety
that?
meetings?
Public safety meetings, yeah.
Well, I'm on Facebook at Ray Bam Bam Andrews. I'm also on X at Razor4455, and TikTok is Bam Bam Andrews. So they can find me on there.
Now, are they building by like weekly? Are you noticing more people, the people you haven't seen coming out? Like, is it sort of a mixed thing?
I see people. I got my OGs, as they call them, right? And then there's new people coming out every week.
And we're going through the cold months too. So like that one day, Bam Bam, it was like minus 27. Like,
yeah,
this is.
I couldn't believe how many people showed up.
Oh, I know.
Like I got a picture of it. Like I take pictures and videos, and I couldn't believe how many people were. It was minus 22 up. We had like 35 people, 42. There was 42 people up there, all all in toques and dressed warm. We were up there, and they didn't want to leave. That's the power that is growing, right?
Now, do your goals change as you do this? Like, is it eventually you would hope to see legislation change? I mean, that's all obviously the ultimate goal, but is there ways that you're thinking of how we can do that? Or is it more, let's just continue spreading awareness?
Keep spreading awareness, but I think we're going to have to start spreading a little bit to the upper people who are the ones that are in control. Those people need to be put on notice. That's what I think. We just got to start going to the MP offices and saying, what's up? We got a government here that, like I said, they're making it a political agenda to save children. We got people that are going to the politicians asking for help. They're the ones causing the problems. They could fix it with a stroke of a pen, but they're choosing not to.
Yeah, minimum sentences should be increased or doubled. I don't know. I don't know what. So what do you know how long your father was in prison for?
9 months out of 18-month sentence. He got out in 9 months for good behavior. He got sentenced 18. And then it was like 9.5 months that let him out for good behavior.
For years of abuse.
for 10 years of abuse for abusing my two sisters before. He was already twice convicted. My sisters had already charged him.
Oh,
So I was
geez.
his third. And then when he got charged the fourth time, same thing. It's like 18 months is the sentence for these freaks. That's their sentence they get, right? And then here's the worst thing about it. Like I said, they're doing this dead time. You get the people like the high risk offenders, they stay in jail, they're getting dead time, right? They're getting 3 days to 1.
And the reason is because they have sleep on the floor. So our government will give you 3-for-1 days, they call it, or dead time. So he goes in for 9 months. Well, he's already dead 2 years or whatever they claim it is. So just because you don't have poor living conditions. So this guy's a rapist and everything else, but they were more concerned about him sleeping on the floor. And that's worth 3 days to 1 because you had to sleep on a mattress on the floor. It's insane.
Do you remember that? It was all over the news. I haven't heard anything. I've even tried looking it up. That Atwood guy that was out west. I think he's a trans man, and he knifed his daughter, and like cut her esophagus or whatever. And he was out. I don't know if it was the next day. I don't want to.
It was a couple of weeks later. And it wasn't long.
I don't even think it was
that
that
was
long.
in the van making the videos.
And he's out on parole or whatever, and snickering about it. And he was out giving tarot readings in the park and stuff. I've tried looking up what's going on with that. I can't find anything about that person.
And then if he goes kills his kids, it's like they literally made it happen. The government and the judges have made this happen. They made it possible. This person's back in public. He's going to stab his own daughter in the neck. Like anyone's child could be a victim.
That's what I meant. That's what I was going to say. Like nobody is safe around this person.
Nobody's safe.
Clearly.
Well,
and there's like people like Tamara Leach getting like they want to give her 9 years for doing a protest, right? Waving a flag.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like we're going to neighborhoods where there's like 3, 4, 5 time convicted people, sexual offenders that are getting let out to walk amongst the streets and nobody knows where they are. Nobody knows so-and-so and that's the pedophile that lives. Nobody knows, right? And it's just like, it blows your mind because like I said, it's week 26 and you asked how many people come out and how happy they're. Barely anybody, nobody ever knows that the pedophile lives there.
And didn't there used to be a registry that you could?
Not in Canada.
Not in Canada.
So they're talking about a registry, but it's just going to be more photos, his crimes and who he is, his age and description of who he is, but there'll be no location. And if you use that information they give you, you could be subject to fines or charges if you harass or intimidate.
But you think at very least they would have that. You know what I mean?
Well, they're starting that. The RCMP is in the works of. They don't have
I know,
right
but
now.
I'm just saying, starting it. They should have been here for years. So that's crazy.
I'm 54 and I haven't seen anything change in 54 years. Like I'm 54 and I've been watching and we're waiting.
Why is that? Why do you think that is?
Because they're protecting their own.
They're all of them. Yeah. That's
like we said, they're either they're sexual offenders themselves or their friends are sexual offenders or their family sexual offenders. And they're sitting there and they're defending them their own. Right, they're protecting their own, pretty much. That's the way I look at it. Right. What else? Why else is there no registry in Canada? Why would the justice system want to lower jail time for people who are making child porn?
It's a safe haven for people.
That's what just happened. Like the Supreme Court of Canada said that it's too harsh of a sentence for somebody who makes child porn. You're making child porn. You're distributing and making child porn. That's what kind of sentence? There should be one sentence. You go to jail for the rest of your life. Like that's how it should be.
So I remember working with you. I'm not going to say which city it was because I'm going to description of the house. It was a small little white house. This person was distributing and making it. And we get to this house and we're protesting near it. And he's got moving video cameras.
Yes.
He's watching us. So did he not get recharged for break of he had breach of probation, right? Because so literally schools 500 meters down the street. This guy's watching every these kids walk home with moving cameras. And he's made these awful videos. He's distributed them. And like we had to inform the police, like, hey, is this guy allowed to have like surveillance cameras for in front of the, like on this road that leads to the school? Like, no. So eventually he did.
Guy got charged. This is the way I look at it. We've been the neighborhoods in St. Catharines there. The guy was up on 126 child porn charges, 126 images on his device, possession, distribution. Okay. So before he even made bail, I was already in his neighborhood putting flyers up. That's how fast I'm getting at it. Right? I'm tracking him down that good. Then he gets bail. Put out in a neighborhood where all the kids are. 126 explicit, grotesque images. That's how it was written in the paper. Distribution. So who was he distributing those images to? And why aren't they arrested?
Yeah.
That's how broken our system is.
Well, that's like this whole Epstein file thing. You have a bunch of victims, but no perpetrators.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in jail for what?
yeah, exactly.
I don't think she's in jail. Have you
I don't think
seen
she's
her?
in
It
jail.
looks like Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Right? It's not her.
It's not her.
I-
Definitely not her.
It just seems odd that, yeah, like we have a bunch of victims and no perpetrators. Like, I don't know.
Justice needs to be served. That's what I'm waiting for. I believe it's going to come eventually. I want to. I'd like to participate in it. Right?
Have you
Right?
thought about like taking this on as like an advocate and really trying to push some legislation changes within the government? Is that something you're feeling like you want to get involved with?
I do, but I don't want to work with the government. I don't want to work with them because they're part of the problem. They are the problem. They could solve it.
Right, but if not you, who's going to do it?
So we have some
Right,
other groups.
like you got to change it from the inside out. I would think.
The inside is
Otherwise,
broken though.
I know that, but maybe you could be the one that come in and heal it. I agree with you completely, 100%. I can't think of one politician.
Needs to be stripped down from the top to the bottom and then rebuilt, restructured every way, shape, and form before there's any fix. Because they're not gonna. They would have already done it. Like there's nothing worse than
It's designed almost.
Yeah,
it's done by design.
It's done by design. It's Satan. It's Satan, right?
Yeah.
It's beast system, right? It's,
I remember being St. Catharines. Remember Paul Bernardo? We had a murderer lived in our town, and we shut the whole town down.
Yeah.
The town was shut down. Kids were getting escorted by police to school.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of girls missing, and everybody
knew about it.
Knew about it. And now you could say, "Oh, there's 10 girls missing from St. Catharines. No one's talking about it."
Nobody even knows.
What a different world we live in today than flashback to 25 years ago, where we actually cared about children. And if a child went missing or a child was hurt, it was massive.
The world stops.
Right.
You guys remember growing up when the news the TV would come on? Hey, it's 9 o'clock. You know where your children are?
Yeah.
Remember all that?
Yeah.
Neighborhood watch, all that stuff. That's all gone. All that stuff. There's no safe. When I go to the neighborhoods, we also look at the schools, like you said, schools, playgrounds,
They're always
daycares,
near, too.
libraries, and pedophiles. Which ones don't belong? Right? It's like Sesame Street. I said,
Yeah,
last
I
week,
love that line.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, so I'll go to the schools after the fact and I'll hang signs up after, or I'll do it by myself previous, right? Just to make people aware. Where we're going this weekend, we're going to Niagara Falls again. And I went and I did my private investigating work the other day. And I sat about 100 feet away from his house. And I looked to my right. There's a big Ontario Park playground, school over here, like all within 300 to 400 feet. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, these people are signed out on sureties. They're not supposed to be around kids. They're making child porn. They're victimizing children, but yet you're giving them access to children. And we got to trust them that they're not gonna. How do you trust a pedophile? Right? Why do we have to trust that pet? Why don't the judges let them go live in their neighborhoods?
Right.
That's the way I look at it, right?
Oh yeah.
If you want to let them out and they reoffend again, why don't the judges
They should be
held accountable,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like people are bartenders. A bartender overserves the customer and the customer leaves and kills somebody. That bartender gets charged.
You could be liable, yeah.
Right? So why are the judges this is where I think that accountability needs to start happening at the top, right? You start holding some of the judges and the upper echelon people accountable. Maybe they'll start giving stricter sentences and they won't let these people out as soon, right?
Well, and I was thinking about this the other day, watching some of your videos and stuff, and you guys walking through the streets. People are really going to start taking it into their own hands. So when they have a family member or a friend who is assaulted, people are just going to be like, well, the courts, they're not helping me. They're not doing anything to protect my kids and to rectify this situation. So people are just going to start taking their own hands. Look at that UFC guy. What was his name?
He's in jail though. Who he beat Brock Lesnar.
No, not Brock Lesnar. No,
he beat him though. It was Cain Velasquez.
That Velasquez, yeah. Who shot the
He
guy.
just got out.
Did he get out?
Yeah, he just got out. He
didn't kill him though. The guy lived, right?
He did live.
Using his daughter.
Luckily, he
His
lived.
niece, I believe it was. It was a niece.
Yeah.
Now that's the thing. People fear. So if I have I do have 5 children. Somebody harms my child, I go out and take care of business, and then all of a sudden I'm locked up for 4 years. Who's taking care of who's taking care of the 5 kids now?
Well, that's
why, you know what I mean?
That's why I don't do the vigilante thing, and I don't, I
try not to promote it either. So I want to talk about that. We have a code of conduct.
Yes.
So when we go there, we start off with a prayer. We don't want to scream and shout that we want to take this person's to the gallows. Like we want to keep this so we can actually make a difference.
Can I do it?
Well, you
I
can.
won't yell. I won't
that?
scream and shout as loud, but I'm going to show you what I do.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll get in the neighborhood, right? And I'll walk through the neighborhood, and I'm like, no, this is Bam Bam, and his backup is here, right? We won't be here very long. We're here to pass the shame, blame, and fear back onto the predator where it belongs. We're survivors of sexual assault and the trauma that goes with it, and we're here to let the neighborhood know and to create the awareness that there is a sexual predator in your neighborhood, and to please keep your children safe, right? And we'll say that, and there's people walking with bells and other people, but it's nothing. I'm not out there saying, kill them. We're not doing stuff like that. It's not anything vigilante.
Well, there's children there too, and there's children.
Right.
There's children in the neighborhood, so we're not going out there to scare anybody. I know they kind of try to paint that brush, paint us with that brush, but I mean, on social media, like if you go to these things, it's not very long. It's a Saturday, so if anyone has, it's 20 minutes each Saturday. That's what I said.
Maybe an hour. Yeah, maybe sometimes an hour.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it doesn't. You can show up.
Yes, and leave anytime you want.
Yeah. And you can leave anytime you want. And I love doing it. I mean, I wish I could go every Saturday. I travel quite a bit, but I make as much as I can. And I think I always say on my lives, I'm like, there's all those people that say they want to get out and make a difference. Go out there and help people that are survivors. And, seeing them happy and seeing them grow, that you're making a change. You are making a change. This small little group has made a change so much that they had to shut down your Facebook page, right? Well, we have police officers calling us. We're getting threats from people. I mean, you're in the right direction when you're getting your Facebook page taken down.
Well, when you're getting your Facebook taken down, like I said, we show up to schools and stuff like that. I go to the courts and stuff, and I'll chaperone.
And you do this every day too. It's not just Saturdays. Bam Bam's out every single day.
I'm almost out every day. You see, what I do is, like I said, we've gone to 26 neighborhoods. I know a lot more. This is just what I've exposed so far. But I've got little books at home with names, addresses, everything, crimes, everything they've done from way back. And it's just, you'd be surprised because nobody likes a pedophile, right? And people have reached out to me, and I just take it down, I jot it down, make notes, and so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I don't plan on going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how much pushback I get from the government, from the broken system, or whoever it may be. This is a necessity. This is a need that needs to happen. And I'm just grateful that I was able to do what I did and am doing, and have people that want to come and back up. Like you said, communities, people, concerned citizens. It's not just survivors. It's not just victims.
Yeah. It's important to talk about it too.
Yes.
I find that there's such a stigma with people that don't want to talk about it. I'm not necessarily saying victims. I'm saying people in general. Even today, like there should be thousands of people in the streets angry about this, right?
You think so?
And people are afraid, like, to go out. I don't know what it is, but there's still a sort of a little bit of a stigma when it comes to, this type of thing, right?
100% there is. And
well, they're watching it live on CNN every day. The people are afraid to talk against these pedophiles.
Yeah.
They're literally scared. So like, they're not doing it on here. We're not doing it out there. They know that, we're I call it the serpent, or the lizards, the or beast. Whatever, the beast, there's a bunch of names for the evil entity, but that's what you're facing. Right. So it's always, people are scared. People are truly scared. Yeah.
I do have to tell you, the entire time we've been talking, there's been some great discussions on the chat, and I should have put it up here, but I didn't want to distract you guys from the discussion. And there's people talking about their story, saying this happened to me, this happened. And I'm not going to say anybody's names as well, but thank you all for sharing all these things. And I'm sure Bam Bam is grateful for this, and there's also a lot of love coming your way from all these people.
Well, you know what? Thank you, everybody, because this is what I'm about. And that's what I say. I go to the neighborhoods and I spread love and light, because you know what? When I started this, there was so much hate. You'd be surprised how many people attacked me. I had all these other Facebook groups coming at me and targeting and saying that we're vigilantes. I'm going in people's faces with the megaphone and screaming at little kids' faces while I'm out at rallies.
No,
and it's just like, are you kidding me, man?
Yeah.
So I look at it this way. If you got a problem with what we're doing,
you are the problem.
You are the problem.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to say thank you to everybody that's commenting and stuff like that. Love up to you all, because I know there's people in my backup group on here, and to the people in my backup group, I'm not, like I say, I don't share the names, but I've got about 10 people that have reached out and started free counseling through the counseling. I'm going to share it with Josh, and maybe we can attach it to this or something later.
For sure.
And it's, I've got people reaching out to me that are attending the free counseling and stuff like that, and are healing and getting the help and the tools. So anybody watching this, if you're suffering, whether it be booze, drugs, mental health, addiction, being a survivor, being a victim, wherever you're at, I want you to know right now, I'm looking at you right now. You're not alone anymore. And it always, always gets better no matter what. And it's that song, it's okay not to be okay. Just don't stay there. Right. Every once in a while I get stuck and I'll get, feeling sorry for myself, or I'll let the emotions take over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all okay. But you have to learn that that's part of your healing process. Sit with it, digest it, work through it, talk to yourself, let it out, cry, yell, scream, whatever you have to do. It's time to heal. It's time to show up for yourself, first of all, and keep doing it, because we've suffered long enough. There's way too many people that still haven't even spoke out yet, that are still suffering. And I just want everybody to know that they don't have to suffer anymore, and it's time to heal.
I feel like you need like a website and, like a little like community forum where people can come and ask you questions and talk with you. That's what I
want to do.
It's very unfortunate that you don't have your social media channels. They were taken away, but maybe we can, like, we run a marketing company. So maybe we can help you build out a website where people can communicate with you, and you can set up these meetings in the street and, just build a community for yourself. That way you have somewhere for people to ask you questions, right? And it's not just on X or on social media or whatever. It's more of like a formal place where you can promote what you're doing, and you guys can have honest discussions. And like I said, you can help people.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a great thing. Like, start your own little organization and, build it from there. I think that would be a great start.
Everybody would love that. I think everybody would love that.
Well, maybe we should meet and talk about that. Maybe we can help you out with that.
Yes.
We definitely will.
Yeah. I think it's important. It's too important to just, not have, this online, and social media is so big these days. I think it's imperative for people to be able to, even if they don't want to go and make formal complaints against somebody, at least they can come to somebody like you and say, they can lean on you, because clearly you are a strong human being, and you've been able to, do all the things you're doing. And I think people would really appreciate that.
To all the people in the comments here that are commenting and saying me too and stuff like that, and are being brave enough to share with us, in my eyes, you guys already are survivors. And I tell everybody that, people say I'm a victim. If you're strong enough to talk to me and come on an open forum like this, you got to take some credit for what you're doing. And that's part of the healing journey. You got to start recognizing the strength that you do have, because you've lived it. You're living it every day still. You're going through it without any tools, and you're still surviving it, even though you're struggling. Like I said, I lived in that hypervigilance for years, PTSD. I thought it was normal. Dissociation disorder, that's all real. And for those that don't know what that is, it's something that your brain learns at a very young age to take you away from that area to keep you safe. It's almost like you're leaving your body. It's like an outer body experience. And that was my biggest, I still do it today. And I have to do the box breathing. I have to do the breath work to bring myself back, because it's somewhere, like, if some days something will go wrong, or I just won't be there. Like, that's part of just, I can be in a room and not be in that room. Right. And having a full on conversation and just forget what I'm talking about. Right. And I used to think it was because of all the drugs I did. Right. But it's the mental health. It's the disassociation. It's the trauma. Right. It's the pain. And it's something that our brain does to keep us safe. But once you learn to unwork that, and that's what I talk with everybody about, showing up, because our brains, because when we were abused as a kid, our brains aren't wired like everybody else's brains who weren't abused. And it's clinically proven. So our brains, it's stinking thinking, I call it. So we can sit and we can dwell and we can stew, because that's what our brains are used to. And once we start unworking that, and we, like I say, the mind-body connection. So when your mind starts going and you start racing and that PTSD gets going, slow yourself down. And I want you to start recognizing what your body's doing while you're doing that. What is your feet doing? What are your hands doing? Is your neck doing this? Are you clenching your fists? Are you doing this while you're doing it? I want you to start to recognize that. And then once you start to recognize that, start to put it together. Okay, what's my mind doing? What is my mind thinking about? And why is my body doing that? And the more you start to do that, you can start to teach your mind how to unwork itself by doing the tools, the breath work, recognizing that. And the more you do it, like right now, I can I can feel myself going into a PTSD moment when it starts coming, or an anxiety moment. But my mind now does this. That's what I call it. It's almost like it's automatic, because I've retrained my mind not to go to that dark place anymore. Right. Positivity is key. right? So that's the biggest thing about this, right? You have to really want it, right? And you got to really have to work it. Just like when I say, you go to the gym, you want bigger arms, you got to do more curls, right? You want a bigger chest, do more bench. You want to fix your mind, you got to do the work, right? And it's hard work. But once you start doing it and you get good at it, because you get better at it, and you get it, and you start to recognize it, and then you start to recognize it. It's like, wow,
There's benefits to this, right?
benefits to this, right? Hey, I didn't overreact this time, right? When somebody said something, or I didn't get triggered like that this time, right? When something came up on the TV, or because I'm going to tell you, a few weeks ago, I haven't had a trigger. They're called triggers, flashbacks. It's part of the PTSD and the trauma. I was sitting in my living room, and I told you, but my dad said he was going to kill my dog. There was something came across the TV, and it came on, and I smelt. My father was construction, so when I walked into your shop and I smelt that wood, that was a trigger for me, because my dad had a shop at home, right? And that shop was a nightmare. Everywhere in my house was. So when I walked in here, I smelt that. 20 years ago, that would have set me right off, but right away, I smelt it. Remember I said I used to work the brake? Remember I told you that? My dad taught me how to work a brake when I was little, right? And I walked in your room, and it was like
Metal shop, man.
flashback.
Yeah.
Like it was like
man.
reliving it. But because I knew how to work myself out of it, know that I'm safe now, I was able to be okay. And I walked up to the brake. I used to run one of these 20 years ago. I would have asked him for a beer, right? We'd
Right.
probably still be in that shop, right? So it's just, it's the power. Like I said, your mind can be your best or your worst enemy, and it's all how you want to place it, right? What you want to do, what you choose to do. You have a choice in life to make, right? So do you want to sit and suffer, or do you want to pass that shame, blame, and fear on?
Right.
Once you start doing it and you start realizing it and you start to recognize the healing, it's beautiful. And there's hope. Look at me. I'm showing you.
Well, there's other groups too. Like I was going to mention today, there's some groups in Toronto that have done. They call them the Mama Bears, but it's Save Our Children. They talk about human trafficking. We've done some pretty big protests over the year. They're non-political protests. It's basically based on children, and we're going to be doing that March 7th in Toronto.
There.
So it'll be noon. So I think that we're going to do
We're going up.
we're going to go to Toronto.
Yeah.
So
I think it's happening everywhere too. Toronto's just one
One of them,
location.
yeah.
It's everywhere. It's all across North America.
Yeah.
So I think I love this because it's, bipartisan, and it's, it's non-political. It's just if you can't get together for the kids and to
it's over. There's over.
if we can't strengthen our communities, regardless of your political affiliations, then we have a major problem.
That's funny you said that, because I've been reaching out to all these groups for the last little while. All the freedom, all these people that are out there doing stuff and saying same thing. Hey, what's more important? Our freedoms are important, but what's more important than our freedom? Kids' innocence.
That's right.
Right. That's where it starts. If kids don't have freedom, nobody does. Right. So I've been reaching out to all these groups to, hey, come back us up. Come, I'll come show up with you. I'll bring some backup with us. Right. And that's what needs to happen. We all need to unite and band together for the kids.
It's pretty easy to unite on this topic too. So I've seen the freedom movement pulled apart by different political opinions, and the reason why I got into the freedom movement, to be honest, was because of the mandates on children, on schools. It was always about the kids for me.
Me too.
And that's how I met you. We were out doing protests, me and Bam Bam, in the middle of, we went and served hot dogs at the vegan restaurant. Remember that?
Yeah, it was
had
beautiful.
they had the big hot dogs, little buns,
Transgender story time.
Yeah.
So
ages 3 to 12. or
Bam
all
Bam's
ages.
cops were there. Bam Bam's in the mosh pit. They're screaming.
My picture was in the paper. They put me right center of the paper. Huge hate.
Resurgence of hate.
Resurgence of hate.
Yeah.
Right now.
There's me and Bam Bam.
For the transgender community.
And that restaurant closed, by the way. They closed 2 years ago.
That's because it was vegan. I think that was the problem.
Well, here's the thing.
No one cared about the drag shows. It was the goddamn fucking menu.
So with saying all that, I want to clear something. I want to clear the air with that. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate the trans community. I don't hate the gay community. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate if you're black, green, pink. I don't hate if you're a cat. I don't hate if you think you're a squirrel. I don't hate anybody. What I hate are the pedophiles. Leave our kids alone.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with anybody else but that. Right? I'm not. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? I love everybody else. Our world needs more love and more light, not more hate.
But that's
not
what drew the line
racism.
with.
That's the government doing that. That's the divide they want. They want us fighting each other. They want us to hate each other.
Well, they put this child stuff in with pride. They kind of hijacked
Maps.
it, right? Like, oh, hey, you guys are doing. It was just the Pride was always Pride. Pride was, we had Pride Week in Canada for 30 years, and all of a sudden they're going to be like, no, we have all these other numbers that go along with it.
Now
If
it's
you get
30
them
days.
wrong,
Yeah.
you hate us.
Yeah.
And now we're dancing erotically in lingerie for children.
Yeah, it just seems like the line was pushed, and now it's like, okay, enough's
It's gone.
enough. It's become poison almost. It just seems like they've poisoned the whole gay community. I know there's lots of people online too that are gay that are like,
I don't have a problem with that.
has gone way too far.
Yeah.
Like,
I have a lot of clients that I now became friends with that I've done their roof and
Yeah.
fixed, and they were like, no, they've been married for 25 years. They don't think this is normal.
No.
They're not going down to watch. And the funny thing is the one dancer who was erotically dancing, and then we were there in the library, and the cops, and he's like, what's your problem with this, man? And I'm like, dude, the guy's
We
name's
were the
Come
problem.
Insider. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. His name was Luke. And he's like, no, it's not. And he looks at the thing. He's like, oh my God. You can see how I turned him. I convinced this cop. He's like, oh my God. I'm like, would your mother be proud of you defending Come Insider, dancing for kids?
Well,
and
yeah.
like,
this is when Josh found out about me, because the cop said to me,
yeah.
he goes, you're part of the problem. You're the problem why this is
Oh,
all
boy.
happening. Pointing at me.
After I got assaulted by a guy
Yeah.
already.
I
got
was
assaulted by a gay
the
guy.
fourth.
Yeah.
But hearing that must have pissed you off.
But you know what? It was just like, I kind of looked at the cop, and this is what I said to the cop. I looked him right in the eye, and this is when you found out. I said, hey, I'm a survivor of sexual assault and trauma and abuse. I said, you tell me how this isn't grooming. This is what my father did to me. He groomed me. I grew up thinking this was normal, that being raped by my father was normal. That's what I thought. And I said, you tell me how you're teaching these little kids that it's okay for this guy to do this.
Yeah.
And I said to the cop, I said, so if I go to the Seaway Mall right now and bring a story and dress up in high heels and fishnet stockings and put a dress on and put some lipstick on and go say, hey, excuse me, ma'am, can I go sit down with your kid and read a story to him? I said, how fast would you be there?
Yeah.
Right? What's the difference here?
They're just organized. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right?
By the government,
Yeah,
paid
and
by
by
our
the
tax
government,
dollars.
right?
paid
Our
by
tax dollars, yeah.
And I always said too, is why not have somebody like even like a predominantly like gay lawyer in the or whatever,
Doctor.
That's
whatever.
exactly what I said.
Pick your
A gay
occupation.
roofer.
I said,
Yeah, sure. I don't think there's any of those.
I'm in.
I
Right?
said that to the agriculture.
Yeah.
Why can't you read the stories? Why
Right.
can't we get a fireman here, a dentist, a doctor,
Yeah.
a lawyer, a roofer, a
That's right.
construction worker,
And-
anybody?
But a drag queen artist.
Why?
Yeah, I think like there's no reason to have sexuality involved in that at all.
None.
Like if they want to promote inclusivity
We're
and
sexualizing children.
that's right.
It's children.
Yeah.
We can't bring our kids to the freaking Sundowner, to the strip club,
Yeah.
right? So why can they go to a library of all places?
You're supposed to learn.
I always said to Josh, we would talk about this
Crazy.
when my son was really young. I was like, why don't, it's the same thing if I'm going to take their hockey team to Hooters or something
Yeah.
and have their hockey party there or something, right? It's like, you would never do that.
It's insanity.
I would go to Hooters.
I
Yeah,
would too.
well.
Celebrate my son's victory when he stayed at home with his mother and I'll get
Yeah.
drunk. Right?
But yeah, so this March is March 7th, 12 to 3 p.m. It's called Save Our Children. We've been talking to a lot of people that are promoting this. It's everyone. I guess the meetup is at Dundas Square.
One of my friends is actually helping run it. Monique, she's
Yeah.
a journalist. We're
Yes.
going to have her on the show as
Yeah.
well. So we're going to try to have her on before the 7th so we can get her
Yeah.
take on all the work she's been doing. She's quite popular online as well. She's been following the freedom movement and she's a really
Yep.
good speaker. So I'm looking forward to doing work with her. I've actually had the first time I've helped promote their
Yes.
protest, right? And I'm sick and tired of talking about politics at this point. I'm like, hey, they all suck.
Politics.
They
is
all
over.
shit.
Yeah.
I'm on the side of the kids because that's our future
it.
generation. That's our future.
Well-
so the politics, I know what they want. They want us to have they want
nothing and be happy.
There it is.
Yeah.
Klaus Schwab,
Yeah.
right? So
nothing.
I
So, yeah.
stand behind this 1,000%.
So Bam Bam's going to bring his back up out here. Some of us are going for March 7th. We're going to go to Dundas Square. We're going to go there and do our thing. And I'm hoping that what I'm going to do is I'm going to network out there and I'm going to reach out to more people out there. Because I've said when I started this, I would love to take this to each city. There needs to be a Bam Bam in every city.
I'm
Yeah.
going for a tour.
There needs to be a group of pedophile hunters in every city to put them on notice.
Yeah,
To create
well,
the awareness.
Again, I think after this, we'll have a discussion, we'll have a meeting, and we'll try and build out a website for you, and then maybe we can just start building it from there.
Franchise Bam Bam's
There's a lot
I
of
said, you know what? I said it because
It needs to be
I
done.
said chapters.
Because
We
some
put a
people reach out to
chapter-
me.
We put a chapter in every city,
Yeah.
right? Across Canada, right? And we get people, hey, every Saturday, let's go out in the area, right?
Here's a code of
Here's a
conduct.
code of conduct.
Yeah.
Here's what you follow. Keep it peaceful. Spread your love and light. Create the awareness. walk and talk, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And maybe at some point, maybe, the powers that be will recognize that clearly there's an issue here.
Well, there's so many people reaching out to me like, oh, I need Bam Bam in London. I need Bam Bam in
Yeah.
Alberta. I'm like,
We're going to clone
I'm like,
them.
I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I'm like, it needs you. If you guys are concerned, it's so Bam Bam only went with 3 people the first time.
Yeah.
It started off with
me.
Yeah,
Right?
as a
what it
hero.
did, right? So I'm going to tell you what you do. So start going to the court dates, right? Start following your local newspapers, right? Find out sexual offenders being charged, when their court date is.
Yeah.
Go to the court dates, right? You'd be surprised once you start going to the court dates and
Yep.
and the families that are going to start reaching out, right? Then you talk to the families, right? Of the survivors, of the victims, wherever they may be.
Yeah.
You get a relationship going with them, right? Let them know that you're there for them. You're support. Hey, I got other people that are here. I'm a survivor too, right? I can support. When they see a person like me talking and they see my strength and I think I put myself out there as being a pretty strong person
You're awesome.
that you can talk to and share with. And I'm not afraid to say whatever. But when you're out there, people want the help. So when I'm in the courtroom and I'm in there, I'll start talking and then I'll find out where the guy lives, right? I'll go to the neighborhood. I'll find out where he is.
Yeah.
Make sure he's there. Identify him. Right? Maybe I'll follow him around for a little bit, right?
And you know what?
Allegedly.
There will be. I think honestly, if we did this, there will be a lot of people, like a lot of them in the comments here, that are very sleuthy, that might have their own sources, and we could create an anonymous sort of inbox. People can drop in, check this out. Everyone would remain anonymous. And I think, like I said, a lot of these people in here,
right?
they will contribute.
Here's the thing, though, right? You got to make sure, like, I started out, I was going to the convicted pedophiles, right? Because you can get anybody to say, oh, this so-and-so raped my
Of
kid,
course.
right? So you got to be sure, right? So that's why I do my due diligence.
Yeah.
And then I put it like a little, I asked, we get people who are getting let out on bail in jail here, right? Do people want to go to the neighborhoods there when they're getting let out early or they're getting let out, right? And we started just creating the word. So it's kind of like a soft notification.
Yeah.
Right. Just to create some awareness to say, hey, just keep your kids safe here. There's somebody in interest here. Be careful. Right. You never know.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So
well, I don't know what the laws are. We'd have to do some digging about. Obviously, we can't put addresses, but there's probably, we could start almost like a bulletin board of there's XYZ and like a map. This
is exactly what I want to do. An app. Because we don't have there's no tracker. And I've said this before.
Yeah.
If the government ain't going to give us, follow Bam Bam and his backup crew. I'll bring you to the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I'll bring you to the areas. So at least like 26 neighborhoods I've been in. Right?
Yeah.
I got you listed home.
Yeah. There's
right?
a bunch of things you can do with plugging in cross streets and then a little pin. And so people know they could go there, they could reference
this
it.
area, keep your children
That's right.
safe.
Yeah.
Right?
So within a kilometer of, these 2 cross streets, here's a pin, a red pin, that means bad news, bears, right?
Right. So that's something I've said that from the very beginning. I started making videos when my page got taken down. I had it was crazy amount of videos I had up there because I would just go on and throughout the day I would make videos. Right. If I was struggling or I was having a good time, I would share whatever I felt necessary to share, whatever I was going through at that moment. I would just come on and let others know, hey, this is the reality of it. And a lot of people that weren't sexually abused, they can't relate, but everybody can relate to mental health. Everybody can relate to addiction, alcoholism. Everybody can relate to all those things. And I was a master of them all, unfortunately. But you know what? I learned to unwork it. And I just want to let everybody know there's a chance. There's hope and there's light at the end of the tunnel. And it doesn't matter how many times you fall, how many times you fail, as long as you're willing to keep getting back up and keep loving yourself and keep putting yourself first, there is light and there is hope. Amen to that.
Amen. Well, I say we could end there for today, and I think we got to bring you back in, and we can focus in on more specifics. I really liked that you came here, and thank you for sharing everything that you do. And I really encourage you at some point today, in the next couple of days, go through these comments and reach out to people because people have said some beautiful things in here, and I think you should probably read it because it'll warm your heart.
Love up, everybody.
Yeah.
So I use a saying, love up. And I learned that through my healing because I lived in a hate, anger, fear, shame. That's not going to help us heal. You got to learn to love yourself and to love up everywhere around you. You got to learn to look for the love because we lived with so much hate and anger and fear and blame. You got to let all that stuff go, and you got to do that through your healing, and that comes through therapy, counseling, and showing up for yourself.
Beautiful.
Love up, everybody.
Love up, everybody, and don't get canceled.
Hey,
Yeah.
this Saturday, 9:30 a.m., Niagara Falls. We're meeting in Crescent. Sorry, everybody.
I'll be posting it too.
Yeah, we're gonna post
I'll
it.
be posting it.
That's
too.
okay.
So
We'll
we're gonna
wait.
meet on Eastwood Crescent and Ontario Avenue, Niagara Falls, 9:30 a.m. Saturday morning. There is a person out on bail who should be in jail. He is one of 3 people who is trying to set up a human child trafficking ring here. He is twice convicted, and we will be in that neighborhood to spread love and light and to create awareness in the surrounding area that there's a person of interest that needs to be keep your children safe.
Okay, that's at what time did you say? 9:30.
9:30 a.m. Saturday morning. 9:30.
Okay.
Niagara Falls.
All right, I won't be there. I'm teaching this Saturday, but I come to everyone I can. So if you guys are at home, Bam Bam could always use an extra backup, guys. So
And remember this, everybody. Remember this.
Nobody likes a pedophile. Nobody.
Love up, all.
canceled. Awesome.